Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Darlo Drum Festival. Woohoo! The crowds are going wild. We're super excited to be here today. This is a session that I was really excited about. Oftentimes, you see mallet percussionists in bands, and they are not necessarily at the front. You just don't get to hear from them. But today, we have some amazing mallet percussions here. We have folks performing from New York, Wales, Newcastle, and London. And yeah, so just sit back, relax, watch the show, and you can, if you have questions in Zoom, just type their question into your Zoom chat. If you have questions in Facebook, then put them in there. Our technicians will try to get them inside here. And also if you have YouTube questions. So without further ado, Well, that was beautiful. Beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. Chris, can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, but basically,
Introduce
that,
yourselves to our audiences and tell us a little bit about yourself.
hi, my name's Chris Jelly. I've been playing tune percussion for quite some years now. Basically, that piece of music was composed, well, variations of that piece of music was composed for a percussion ensemble called Principle 3, which kind of consisted of, well, it did consist of lots of untuned percussion, but also quite heavily on the tuned percussion side. So we had steel pan, vibraphone, marimba, bass marimba, um, and it was about 7 or 8 of us that was in that percussion ensemble lineup. So that was just me taking it back to just a solo instrument, really just stripping it right back. So that's kind of where that piece of music came from. Obviously, there was a tiny bit of adagio for strings in there, but that was kind of came from me practicing my mallet techniques and individual mallet techniques. To be fair, I'm very critical of my playing, so obviously within that video there was a few mistakes. Don't worry about that, but
No one knows.
but yeah, it's always been an instrument that I've loved to play. That style of instrument, rhythm and rhythmic things are also a massive, influence on my playing. So yeah, when I started off music, I first heard Evelyn Glennie. She was the first kind of launch it for me into that, and then obviously from there Gary Burton, and then after Gary Burton, then it was just everyone, even like not even tuned percussion players. You've got the likes of I'm getting tongue tied already, but yes, it's music's where was my escapism as a child. When I had not so good things going on, music would be somewhere I would go. Youth band was a massive thing for me. So that's kind of where I started playing music, and then I've just continued, and now my latest project is a band called King B, which has been going quite a lot of years now. Actually, it's been going about 8 to 10 years. So, and that's full jazz, funk, and all original. We don't play any covers. Me and Dave, a sax player in the band, we're very keen on writing music, and but everyone in the band contributes to that. So, but going to a soloist again, which I haven't done for a while, was quite a big challenge for me. So thank you, Harambee, for giving me this opportunity to do that again. So yeah.
I mean, when I've seen you, I've had the privilege of seeing you in Principle 3 and at Gateshead Old Town Hall, and
Yes.
and like watching you playing King B. I mean, my goodness, I needed to see that again. Like, you're a fantastic musician, fantastic.
Well, thank you very much. I mean, I think every musician thinks, I've still got so much to learn. Even at my age, I think, I look at players around the world now. Like there's one guy that I think very highly of called Monty Croft. His name is. He's from, I think he's from New York or States anyway. But I watch him regularly. He posts plenty of videos online, and I admire his playing. And he's not someone that's, well, I know of him and follow him. There's loads of players that are out there that aren't tuned percussion players that are out there that are so fantastic that haven't really been seen yet. This opportunity today to see other players playing this kind of instrument as well is so exciting to me. And for you to be able to do this and give us a platform to show this kind of music, I think is absolutely amazing. So yeah, basically, tuned percussion is just another arm of playing tunes, but also using rhythm within that and trying different things all the time. And I love marimba. I love marimba so much. That's my next kind of thing that I want to buy. So I'm really looking forward to that the segment with marimbas and all sorts of different styles as well. You know,
Yeah.
I love everything. You know.
Oh, well, thank you for giving us a little intro to yourself.
I hope that was okay.
You're kidding me. That's beautiful. You're so humble.
Well, you know.
Thank you so much. And we're gonna hear a little bit from Kuda next up.
Brilliant.
So much. That was amazing.
So
Kuda, Matimba. Wow. Tell us about yourself. I know you have a bit of a story. I was reading up on your bio, and you've been doing so many amazing things. Tell us about yourself and tell us about that wonderful piece of music we just listened to.
oh, thank you. I think I'll start with the that piece of music because the little man is just here. So that
Oh, little
is here.
cutie. Hello.
Say hi tonight.
Hi.
Right.
Oh.
So that song is called Tanaka. It's on my album, which I released last year sometime. And it's a song about him. I wrote this song. He's 8 years old now. So I wrote this song before he was born. And it was just a song to celebrate his coming into this world. And it's a song that I really love so much. And I'm sure when he grows up, knowing that, I once wrote a song for him, or maybe I'll continue to write more songs about and for him. I'm sure he will be happy about that. So that song is called Tanaka, and that's his name. And Tanaka, in my language, it means we are good.
And tell us your journey in traveling and maybe where you're born and where you're living now. Like, it's a really interesting
Yes.
story.
So my obsession with marimba started when I was young. When I was about 9 or 10 years old, and I started playing marimba at school. I just heard this sound, and what attracted me to it was the buzzing.
Mm-hmm.
The marimba is not a solo instrument; it's a group instrument. So in Zimbabwe, where I was born, we have marimba sets. A marimba set
Mm-hmm.
will consist of like more than 5 marimbas. So that's how we play them. We're sharing our parts. So it's unlike instruments like the Balafon, you can play solo. The marimba is just like that's why in this recording I thought it best to include some of the things that I put in this recording. So anyway, I played with just after secondary school because I learned the marimba at school, and then I started teaching. And just after my secondary education, I was invited by one of the most well-known mbira players in Zimbabwe, and her name is Stella Chiweshe. So she invited me to be
Mm-hmm.
part of the band, and at this point I was playing marimba. But I'd also graduated as a keyboard player. I'd established myself in Zimbabwe as a keyboard player. And
Ah.
so I worked with Stella Chiweshe for a bit of time. I toured a lot in Europe. And, after 2 or 3 years, I got an offer from one of the best groups to come out of Zimbabwe, the Bundu Boys. And they
Yes.
wanted me to work with them. So, it was so much of a surprise, and I couldn't reject it. So I worked with the Bundu Boys. I was the last person actually to join the Bundu Boys, but I worked with them not as a marimba player, but as a keyboard player and a singer as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's been my journey. I worked with the Bundu Boys for about until we disbanded. It was about 7 years, and we
Mm-hmm.
disbanded sometime in 2001, 2002. And it was a great experience for me, working with the Bondo Boys, and the level which they were as a group that was just like coming from the townships of Zimbabwe, but they managed to break through all over the world and putting Zimbabwean music and Zimbabwe as a country, raising the flag on the international world music map.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really been my journey. And when we disbanded, I started my own outfit, Harare, which is named after the capital of Zimbabwe. And because now my base is here in London, and I do a lot of gigs. Before the COVID-19 pandemic. So we travel around the country, and sometimes we go to Europe, to do gigs, and it's such a beautiful experience for me. Yeah, so that's the marimba there for you.
Thank you so much. So we're gonna hear more from all of you together in a panel. Thank you so much, Kuda. That was fantastic, and thank you for giving us a little bit about yourself. And we're gonna welcome an amazing Infamity up next. So.
Hello guys, my name is Mfamadi Kouyate. I'm from Guinea-Conakry in West Africa. And this is the instrument I'm gonna play for you today called Balafon. It's one of the oldest instruments from Africa. Made by words and some girls underneath. And it's accompanied today by my calabash. Is the smallest one I got in the list of the Balafon. Listen to the sound. I hope you enjoyed it. That was Balafon. Thank you so much. That was Balafon. And the day rhythm I play, I just play Ko Farafina, which means Africa in the dialect, African language, Mandinga language. Farafina, thank you so much. It's been nice to play with you guys.
Woo! Awesome. Mfamadi, welcome. Tell us about yourself and what part of the world are you in right now?
Well, right now I'm in Cardiff. And I'm doing Darlo Drum Festival. Yeah, so my name is Kuuyate. For those who don't know me, from the successors of the Mandinga, West African music and dance company based in Cardiff. I'm from Guinea-Conakry in West Africa, and I'm a master balafonist and a griot or jelly. The balafon is a traditional West African xylophone made from hairy wood, a tree native to West Africa from the mahogany family. Underneath, there are calabash, as I told you from my performance video. They are calabash, they are like dry goods, which amplify the sound. Yeah. So the balafon is a sacred in Guinean culture, my country where I'm from, and is traditionally played during ceremonial celebrations, carnival, and community festivals. The legend tells that the first balafon in the world was discovered by the king of Soso, Sumaworo Kante, and he was given into the guardianship of my ancestor, the Jali Balafasake Kouyate. So the Kouyates have been significant family of jelly for generations for this reason. So the meaning of jellies or griots are hereditary guardians of the Manding tribe's songs, rhythms, and the story, and have responsibility for sharing and preserving Manding culture. So I was born into this jelly family, and I learned to play Balafon as a small child. It is the preferred instrument of both my parents. My mother play Balafon.
Really?
I play Balafon. All my sisters play Balafon in Africa. All my family plays. It's like hereditary stuff. It's blood. So we are known as musician family, especially this Balafon.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went on to learning djembe and drumming in the traditional ballets of Conakry, Guinea's capital.
Mm-hmm.
In Guinea, I played for theater, orchestral groups, circus, traditional ceremonies, as well as having my own band, modern band called Les Héritiers du Manding,
Mm-hmm.
and have toured across Africa before to move to Wales.
Wow.
I'm now resident in the UK and I live in Cardiff. Yeah. So from Cardiff here, I have set up my own arts company called The Successors of the Manding, which offers West African music and dance performances, as well as workshops, face-to-face and online. And I am also in the process of finishing my first EP.
Wow.
In collaborations of some exciting musicians from the UK here and Africa.
Wow. Definitely looking forward to that.
That's something about me.
Oh, thank you so much, Infamity. We're gonna come back with you and with all the other percussionists just after we hear a little bit from Pete. Thank you so much, Infamity.
You're welcome.
Hello, Pete. Wait 1 second. There we go. Hey, Pete.
Hello, hello. Thank you for having me so much. You can hear me okay?
Yes.
Excellent. So I have to first say, like, Chris, Kudu, and Famade, like, wow, you guys are a tough act to follow, and I hope to do you guys justice. Yeah, my name is Peter Saleh, and I do most of my work in New York City. And as you might be able to see behind me over here, I do some Broadway work, which is at the moment on pause. But a lot of orchestra work, club dates with drums. But one of the things that is probably unique about my career compared to pretty much all my colleagues is the amount of time that I spend working as a dance accompanist. So I've been playing marimba and keyboard percussion instruments I think I started in 1996 is when I started playing these instruments. And in 2000, so not too long later in the scope of my career on this instrument, I started accompanying modern dance classes at the time at Rutgers University, which is where I was doing my undergraduate degree. And that's where Harambee and I met as well, in Rutgers, New Jersey. And I very quickly just really enjoyed the fact that I had some freedom there, and we can definitely, and Harambee and I have talked about the idea of the Western musical education, and hopefully that'll come up in the panel. But this was in some ways an escape from that, in certain aspects of that curriculum. And then I started to realize that I enjoyed it, and because I kept getting asked to do it, I guess I was good at it in some ways. And then about almost exactly 10 years ago. It's going to be this January, 10 years ago. I got hired at the Juilliard School, which is one of the best conservatories, Western style conservatories around, especially this part of the country. And I got hired as a modern dance accompanist there. And I had already been playing marimba as an accompanist, improvising marimba as an accompanist for a couple years at that point. And it just so happened that one of my former private students was a student at Juilliard at the time, and so he helped me get one of their marimbas into class. And he would actually come and sit in, and it was basically a way. It was fortuitous that the third floor of that building it's all the dance studios and all the percussion studios, and they're all kind of right next. And I feel like that's really fortuitous. So there were marimbas in the hallway, and so I was able to pull it in. And what's unique about that situation is, so I'm quote unquote classically trained. These are quotes, classically trained, and so I would be accompanying class, and I'd see the associate principal of the New York Philharmonic walk in the hallway, and then kind of pop his head in and just stare at me for a while as I was playing, and it was always a very unnerving experience for me in those occasions. But it also made me figure out, okay, is this really my thing? So what I thought I would do is something that's kind of in the style of what I would do as an improvisation for dancers. I felt it would have been disingenuous to record something as much as that might have been good from a technical standpoint. But because I normally read dance instead of reading music, as a way to figure out what I'm going to play, I'm just going to be essentially channeling some of that as I play this. I'm going to start off with something that you might be familiar with, which is the prelude from Johann Sebastian Bach's first cello suite in G major, and then I'm going to kind of branch off of that. And this is the style of music that you might hear me play as a dance accompanist, but also just as a musician, because this is the type of stuff I like playing. So here we go.
absolutely beautiful. Just gorgeous. Let's get everybody in here. Is everybody on screen here? Kuda, Family. I guess I think the first question: how do you all travel with your instruments? If each of you can just talk about that a little bit.
I have a hatchback Peugeot 308 with all the seats down and the front seat pushed right forward. Yeah, it's fun.
What about you, Pete?
I have a very large, very unseemly minivan that is very useful.
Minivan.
Yeah, a minivan. Although back in the day, I used to be able to cram my marimba into a Honda Accord.
Oh yeah,
it is doable. It is doable.
And what about you, Infamity? How do you travel with your instrument?
Yeah, for me, it's quite easy for me. I mean, it's not that large. I just put it in the bag. I go back to my Balafon and I protect it with some cardboard on front of the calabash
Mm-hmm.
to protect it against, scratching or whatever. I've learned how to make it safe because I travel a lot.
And then Kuda, what about yourself?
But my marimba is actually, I can dismantle it. So,
I see.
it's I can just take it apart, and then I have four pieces because it's chromatic, you see, and then even the pipes as well. The rod that goes, that carries the pipes. In the middle, I can separate it. So it's I have a car that's got a good size trunk, so it just fits in perfectly. So even if I'm traveling with my band, because my band we are four musicians, even with the guitars, we just put them in the trunk, and then I don't have it's big. It's a sedan, but it's still everything fits perfectly. So.
When I seen concerts with marimba, I've seen in Southern African, like in Zimbabwe or South African, you play a lot of musicians together, and also when I was at Rutgers in the classical musical style, I would see a lot of marimba players, xylophones, different mallets playing together. But I haven't in West African. I guess when I see like djembe player, the traditional West African music, I haven't seen loads of balafon player together. It's normally one. And also in jazz with you, Chris, I haven't seen more than one marimba player. And I was just wondering what you guys think about playing in ensembles with other mallet players, and have you ever wanted to if you haven't?
My time at Principal 3, we had obviously quite a bit of on-tune percussion, but we also had marimba, bass marimba, which actually came from Africa, which is one of my friend Brendan Murphy's instruments and vibes. So we had three different tones of mallet instrument, but it was a very, very different style of playing the bass marimba. The mallets it was like a bit like Kuda's setup. The marimba was like angled, and it was a handmade instrument, and you play it with these really big hammers, and you could get some really nice, like the piece I played called that Time of Space piece I played had a bass line underneath it in the original recording, and which was like doom doom doom, and that's kind of how it sounded. It sounded really deep and lovely. But that was a good few years ago now. But yeah, so playing in ensemble, you have to think about where we had to think about how to arrange tunes and what areas of the instruments you would play to get the fullest and nicest sound out of the instruments. But thank you very much to Kuda and Family and Peter for your performances. They were fantastic. Thank you so much for that. Really, really good. And thank you to yourself, Harambee, because this is awesome what you've set up. Really, really awesome.
Oh, thank you, Chris. What else? Anyone else want to talk about their experiences playing in an ensemble?
Using normally in West Africa.
Kuda?
Not with different types of vibes or marimba, like what Chris plays, or the balafon. But in Southern Africa, as you said, you see a lot of there's a guy who I think just one person who managed to go to Zimbabwe and got a full marimba set. Is here in London, Otto. I think he's the one who made us in contact, and that's just the nature of the Southern African type marimba. Actually, the Zimbabwean type. So we play together. It's all about sharing parts, and a marimba set is two sopranos, 2 or 3 altos, then you have the baritone and the bass. I think that's Chris is mentioning. It's got like these huge mallets, and it's the sound then gets deeper. That's just the nature of the marimba, and beyond that, due to paucity of documentation, there isn't much written about the marimba until the Zimbabwe type. Till the 1960s. So my knowledge of the marimba, it actually starts from the 1960s, when the then government formed this center in order to preserve and develop traditional music. That's when the marimba was developed, the Western scale, including the, it was all natural, including the sharp fourth, understand musical terminology. So that's, when the history of marimba, as I understand it. But, I also believe it took a lot from Mozambique, because our neighbors in Mozambique, they have the Chopi. It's an ethnic group in Mozambique. They play what they call timbila. It's a type of marimba, again in a group, and the music is is very, very, it's highly complicated. Like I tried to study it, and I couldn't really even grasp, like where the song is starting from, where it is just, it's quite fascinating. So I believe that's where our Zimbabwean type marimba, that's where they copied it from Mozambique, because it isn't any, unlike the mbira, the thumb piano. There is a lot of, in literature, there's lots of stuff written about it. I mean, there was a guy, Hugh Tracy, who went all over Southern Africa and as far as Uganda and Kenya, documenting all these traditional musical instruments. And the mbira is a big part of it. But the marimba was nowhere to be, I don't know, you couldn't find any marimbas in Zimbabwe. So that's knowledge of, but it's just the nature of the marimba, it's a group instrument.
Yeah.
I would, if I can just add my experience. So with the group instruments, like putting the marimba in particular, I'll let Chris talk about vibraphone more particularly if he wants to. Yeah. But just marimba, the issue tends to be that in a group, whether it's with other percussion instruments or whether it's with if you're playing, like I've played with like a church praise band, I've, brought marimba on stage with that, where everybody's wearing, electric guitar and drums, or a percussion ensemble. And the challenge with marimba is being heard, because the ambient nature of the sound is one of the first things to go when you start to combine it with other sounds. And so as a result, you end up having to use a lot harder sticks. So I have, if I can, show everybody, I'll see if I can do this without completely destroying my setup here. But I have a lot.
Can I come over? Pete, can I come over?
Yes. Just hop on, start swimming.
It's a Mallet Percussion's candy store, yeah.
Oh, God, that's awesome.
But a lot of those are from like, well, I can't hear myself. And if I do hear myself, I don't like the sound I'm creating. I have to desperately try something else, because you at least want the front of your sound to be in the music, if not the rest of your sound. Like, there's the start, the attack of the sound, and then there's the ringing of it. And a lot of times my experience has been that the ring is the first thing that you go, well, I guess no one's going to hear the ring of the instrument. And it becomes a color, a front to the instrument.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah.
Well, it is so true. I had loads of problems with when I first started in the jazz funk band King B. Obviously, the deepness of the sound would just disappear. Try to mic it up in different ways and all that. In the end, I turned to pickups for that band. Principle 3, we just played acoustically. When we played on bigger stages, we would just have ambient mics all the way around. It was slightly different, but when you're playing in like an electric band with bass guitar, keys, Rhodes, synth, then yeah, the pickups ended up being the best option for me in that situation, which I still use. I use now for that. So yeah, that kind of curbed that problem for me, actually, the pickups.
The sound is really tough. The sound is really tricky when you're trying to mic it, and oftentimes folks are trying to mic it from underneath and on top. I remember I had it in my band. I tried to play with a really fantastic percussionist or marimba player. His name was Mark Edwards, and we were just struggling to try to mic up his sound and be heard even at the Sage Gateshead. But I noticed with oftentimes with like West African Balafon and Famity, your mallet, it's just really loud and it just cuts through. But I think it's made like that, or to cut through those percussion. Maybe do you have sound issues when you're gigging, or is it just clear?
I haven't got that problem when I'm gigging, because Balafon got already like a natural sound. We just put like microphone and stuff in there to make more sound for people to hear more. In terms of issues with sound, no, we haven't got that.
And your sticks are much thicker. Have you all played each other's instruments or those style of instruments at any point in time? Because the West African Balafon, is completely different mallets and everything to the vibraphones.
I definitely had to go at the Balafon, and that was within something Brendan Murphy was doing, and that's only because someone came with one and gave me the opportunity to play it. But yeah, what an awesome experience that was,
Yeah.
It's always great, isn't it, to get on an unfamiliar instrument and have a go, or even be shown to have a go, But yeah, it's a great style as well. It's a great listening to all the different types of musical backgrounds of this style of instrument, So Balafon, I really enjoy playing it, but hearing the whole like a whole band of that style of music's amazing. I mean, I was at, where was I? Quayside one year, and they had Balafons, like marimbas, all handmade instruments. I mean, they're all handmade anyway, but really handmade instruments, and it sounded great,
Yeah.
Have any of you ever tried to have the experience of tuning the marimba? That's a question from one of our guests in Zoom, Karen Trainer. Has anyone ever tried to had the experience of tuning a marimba note?
Yes.
Who is that?
Kuda.
Tell us about it, brother. Tell us.
We do need to know this, I think, because Brendan's after the answer.
Yes.
No, for me, it's because it's something that I grew up doing, and like in Zimbabwe, I think one of the things that I wanted to mention also about the Balafon and the Marimba. I mean, one of the differences that the way they are constructed, like the wood which you have, I think in that part of Africa, in West Africa, which they use for the Balafon, it's like it's really hard. It's hard. I've got a Balafon here, and when I look at the wood and I play it, and then I play my marimba. In Southern Africa, in Zimbabwe, this wood that we call mukwa, that's the hardest wood that we have, but it's not as hard as compared to the wood which they use in West Africa. And when I'm here, because of the climate, so sometimes the marimba gets out of tune, some of the keys, and I have to try to tune it. So it's just shaving off the bottom part of the key, if you know what I mean. Like, okay, the key is like this, and if it's sharp, you shave off this bit, the middle part of the key, and if it's low, then you shave this part of the edges of the key. So that's what I do. I mean, for me, it's easy to do it than to explain it, I think.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. Yeah, like even in Guinea, the way we made xylophone, like I told you, Harry, made from Harry woods. We're gonna tune all from the beginning before to make on the fire, and after making on the fire, if it's dry, we'll clean it and tune it with. We got a little things. We use that now. We use that to have the same tuning with the guitars and stuff. But like I can say, like 100 years ago, we used to have like a normal tuning, like traditional tuning from ears. But now, like the new generation, we want it like that's back even before me, to see how to play with modern instruments like these xylophones or marimbas, but quite modern stuff, and guitar, piano. So we got a little machine we call accorder. So we use that, and we play Balafon. Toon, 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 toon. If it's not right, we did go, cut. Yeah, so that's how we tune Balafon.
I went and grabbed a marimba bar. This is actually, and to give you the short answer, I would never think of doing it because this one bar is $100.
What?
Oh,
yeah.
Wow!
This is one bar, and this isn't even the biggest note. And they this is an old one that has a microscopic fracture in it, and so I had to replace it. This is Honduran rosewood. So this instrument, that's where the wood comes from,
right.
Specifically Honduran rosewood. But yeah, and exactly. You can see the how thin it is at the middle, and that's when they want to make it lower. So the lower notes are even thinner than this in the middle. So you have to be very careful to not hit it too hard, or tuning is the least of your worries, because if you want to break a piece of wood, where do you hit it? The middle, right? And it becomes a little dangerous.
Mm. I know that there's a gentleman, Brendan Murphy, who's in the chat well, he's in our Zoom call. He's part of our audience, and he's made some fantastic instruments. So he's had to tune different pieces of glass and metal. And have you created your own instruments, Chris, and played different marimba instruments? Not marimba, but like tuned percussion in that same way.
No, I mean, I have to be honest. I haven't made any tuned percussion instruments myself. Having said that, I have been part of Brendan Murphy's experiment of he's an inspiration when it comes to that kind of thing, making his own wine glass musical instrument, making his own glass marimba, which is phenomenal. Which I've actually had the opportunity to play, but I've never hold my hands up. I've never made my own instrument. However, I've made my own sticks before. I have done that. So because I fancied trying it out because I played with Bobby Hutchinson. He borrowed my vibraphone for a gig at City Hall. So anyway, so I was setting it up for him, and he comes out and he shows me these mallet sticks, and he goes, Hey, man! Have you tried making your own? You know, because he saw me with my factory-made sticks, and then he gets his out and goes, "This I use all these." He goes, "He'll sit on a plane and thread his sticks to make his own." And he knew how to start everything off and make exactly the same stick the second time. Which, if you've ever tried doing it, trying to have the exact same shape, the exact size. Is quite a technique, but yeah, I've had to go doing that. That's about as far as I can say I've gone with making my instruments. I don't know about anybody else, Kuda or in family or.
In family, the Balafon sticks are. Is it rubber at the tip? What is?
I'm laughing because I slow you out.
Or it's not cloth though. It's not cloth.
Not cloth. Yeah, it looks like cloth, but it's not cloth. That's basically water. It's water from the tree.
Yes.
Up you see what I mean? So basically, it's that we put on something on the wood, on flat wood, on the sun, and let it dry.
Right.
And then when it dry, it become elastic.
Yes.
And then I cut it in the small pieces, and wrap it on the wood. Around the wood, it start become stick, Balafon stick.
When I was traveling in Gambia, I bought a Balafon there. I don't had the time to practice it that well, but it's there. And I bought the mallets for it as well. And I made a mistake of, sitting next to the window and I put the mallets on top and they got really rubbery and sticky. So yeah, I was like, bad idea.
Yeah.
Look at all these heads to me, Hanabi. I'm in the mallet bad corner now.
I'm just reading a comment on here. It says, "What advice would you give any beginners who want to play mallet instruments as
Don't
a
put the mallets next to
percussionist?"
the window.
Yeah.
Don't put mallets next to the window. Go on, Pete.
Yeah.
Great answer.
But yeah, oftentimes when you start in a band, you would get normally, trumpet or drums or something. But what can any of you say to inspire someone to, even if they're 40 years old or younger as well? Like, what would you say to them to get them interested in playing the mallet percussion?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always doing workshops here in Cardiff here, and I did some workshop in Edinburgh as well, Edinburgh and London. Yeah, anyway, I'm always doing workshop with any age can play Balafon. I don't know for the other instrument, but for Balafon it's possible to learn whatever I want,
Pete?
I would say it's two things. Find some way, big or small, to get an instrument where you like the sound, where you enjoy hearing it. These obviously they take a lot of space, but there are ways to get electronic versions that are much less expensive and much smaller. And then to find a teacher that kind of matches well with you so that you guys can explore whatever your goal as a student might be. I do a lot of private teaching one-on-one. So and the cool thing, the one good thing about doing all this in Zoom instead of in person is that everybody is now aware that they can take lessons with people anywhere in the world. So if anybody is ever looking to take a lesson, hit me up. I do a lot of teaching.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that sounds great. That sounds great, Pete. But I'd like to come to your house and have a one-on lesson with all that stuff. Looks mint.
Come on over. You got to show me how you did that faster stuff at the bottom of the vibraphone.
Well, no, I don't know. It's it'd be great. I love that. All of the instruments played today were the sounds were phenomenal. I mean, Kuda, the buzz you got off your marimba was amazing, and the Balafon stuff with the cross rhythms and all that kind of stuff going on was brilliant, absolutely brilliant in Family. So today's been a really, really good experience for me. So thanks, guys, for all this great stuff. Everyone should get in and try tune percussion. Rhythm is the start for me. I would sit as a kid. Just stuff like that. That would be me annoying my parents, and then go get this kid out of here, get him somewhere else. So that's when they shipped me off to play with youth bands and stuff because they were sick of me banging on the table. I originally wanted to just play like snare drum and stuff like that, but then I ended up being put on tuned percussion because there was too many people playing the cool snare drums and stuff. So yeah, but that's how I got onto tuned percussion. But as a kid, when I think I started doing that youth band as about 11. It got me away from quite a tough time in my life. That was having problems at home and stuff. So I ask any kids out there just to look to see what there is for the youth, for music, especially online at the moment, because obviously with what's going on in the world, I think music is a good way of making you express your emotions and take you away from places that are not so good. I don't know what other people think about that. I do have quite emotional responses to music. A piece of music can make me cry. A piece of music can make me laugh and be really happy. And there's lots of ways to bring especially percussion music to the forefront, because there's the old saying, the drummer in the band doesn't know too much about this and that, but it's changed a lot now. And listening to what I've heard today, it's inspiring. So and there's many other fantastic tune percussion players out there, mallet players out there, jazz vibes, African percussion, tune percussion. There's just so much. There's such a we just need to try and push our music out there. So we, especially at the moment with everyone who used to be doing gigs, like Family said he would be gigging all the time. Kuda said he would be out traveling. Myself, I would be out. We all would be. So this time for musicians is very tricky. So if we can all pull together and put something like this together, then let's try and do that. Let's try and work together with this situation that we're all in. My love to all of you. My love to all of you. Yeah.
Speaking of trying to inspire people to play these instruments, I would like to turn it around a little bit and say, what advice do you all have for percussion teachers? Because I know that some of you also play drums, you know, other percussion instruments. Pete, definitely, and Infamity, definitely, you also play drums. So is there something you guys can say or have advice for other percussion teachers or music teachers in general around that idea of like traditional style, do it this way or that way? I'll leave it there.
I feel like that question was right out of our conversation.
It may have been.
So I won't hog too much time on this. I would say if you look at the general amount of music in the world, just of any sort, and then you look at how much of it is written down, that's actually a very small portion of the music that's being made in the world. And sometimes people who are teaching forget that, and they focus a little too much on reading. Mm-hmm. And what it does is it shuts this down in favor of this. And if we're talking only about reading music, then it's only ever about following instructions as opposed to playing what you hear and maybe creating something on your own. Mm-hmm. So I would say, like, don't shy away from getting rid of the music stand in your studio for a week and seeing what that does to your teaching. That might be a fun experiment.
Definitely. I definitely agree with you there, Pete, on that one. It's, I mean, that for me was always something that was the last thing I did, learning how to read music. I'd far quicker pick up a piece of music by listening to it than actually reading it off the page, which was great at the start when I was younger. But then when I wanted to play in a group situation, then I had to push back and try and get the notations and learn how to play from reading. Mm-hmm. So I learned ear first, then music, and even now I can read music, but sight reading isn't as quick as what it would be playing by ear. I can always pick up. That's my little weakness. Yeah. Probably a big weakness, actually.
But what about in like the African or like the more traditional African styles, like with Infamity? Do you have to read music? Or in Kuda, like, do you guys have to read music or do you play by ear? What's the style? Like, how do you?
Oh, go for it, bro. Go for it.
Well, for us in Zimbabwe, it's an oral tradition. So, it's memory. You see, you observe, and that's how we learn music. And also, some that I thought would be important to mention. Between the these musical traditions. I'm an achieved musician, so I'm not from a family, like musicians, unlike Mamadi. So that's also something that is very important to know or learn about, the differences in our music cultures. But no, nowadays, like in Zimbabwe, because there are so many establishments teaching Western music, so a lot of people learn notation. There are musicians who play jazz, who play blues, and all these foreign genres. But marimba and mbira, for example, mainly it's these are oral traditions. Even though you have Westerners who have tried to notate, mbira music or marimba music for, just as an aid for others to read when they are actually like playing. But for me, no, I don't read music. I mean, I studied at SOAS. I did my master's in music and ecology. Notation was, reading music was just. It was a bit of it, but I never, because I was mature as well when I went there. So, thought it would be very difficult for me to start learning all these things about notation and so on. So no, I don't read music at all now.
I wanted to add one thing, which is obviously, I'm coming from a place of already having been trained to read music. And when you have one rehearsal for a 3-hour concert, there's no chance that you're going to memorize 3 hours worth of music. So there is a necessity, and it does allow you to be exposed to other composers' voices. I was more talking about keeping a balance. Yeah.
I mean, that's you need to be like you say, to be a job in going out playing in those situations. Pete, reading music is crucial for being able to jump on like you say, a 3-hour show when you've only got like an hour rehearsal to do it. So yeah, I wish I'd put more time in at the very start doing that, and rather than just relying on my ear, because it was a big fight coming back to try and be able to read, if you know what I mean, Pete.
Different part of the brain.
Yeah.
What about you, Infamity?
Yeah, I think it's the same as Kuda say. It's like traditionally, naturally, we get it naturally. I've never read music before in my life, but I will, it's interesting to learn after, But so far, what I'm doing, Balafon, I'm a Balafon teacher. I teach a lot, but I teach with like reading. It's like more, I want you to get it naturally as I learned, So it's a little bit like that.
And that's the thing. As soon as the music is memorized, you can start to perform it. You can take it and own it. I went to my first carnival ever was in Brooklyn, and I went to the Steel Pan band concerts, and it's like a full day of like Steel Pan. It was just it was the most amazing experience, and these musicians are playing hours. Like they'll just start and they're just going, and obviously that's more of a community, and they practice all the time. But I'm just thinking of them at the moment of like, how long they have to play, and not read anything, just have it in you. But I think a lot of the musicians or a lot of the music styles that do require reading music, I'm sure that most of them wish that the artist could like memorize it quick so that they can start to perform it, because the conductor spends the whole time trying to get them to be emotive about it, whereas if you had internalized it first, but obviously there's you need a balance, and all is relevant.
If I can, there's one thing, like when marimba players have a music stand in front of them, I call it the headless marimba player, because it's tough, but it's like they're not engaged at all in what they're doing.
It's called accentuating that peripheral vision, isn't it, Pete?
Yeah. Well, it's just an impressive nature.
There's my hand. There's my hand. There's my hand.
Yeah.
I want to before we run out of time, I think that it's really important for our audiences to know that you all are like fantastic percussionists, and you all teach. And maybe if each of you can just let us know where we can find you, your social media, your email, or if anybody is interested, then they can email or get in touch with the festival, and we can forward on your details. But we've been trying to make all of your information accessible. But like Pete, you teach online. You wrote a book. In Infamity, you teach lessons. So tell us about how we can find you guys and study with you, over the internet.
The Successors of the Mandang. This is the name of my company.
I want a T-shirt.
The Successors of the Mandang. So you can find it on YouTube. You can find it on Facebook, on Twitter, and obviously on Instagram. That's my name. I haven't created one for Successors yet, but it's like same. Successors is me. So, but as you care, people can get in touch with you guys, and that's from my side.
Thank you. Who else? Pete?
I can talk. So actually, right at the very beginning of the pandemic, March 16th, I started doing daily online group practice sessions on Zoom, and we're currently at around number 140 that I've been doing. And Monday, Wednesday, Friday, it's drum pad with and I always pick tracks to do the exercise to. So we'll pick West African drumming, we'll do some samba drumming, we'll pick Lady Gaga. It's all over the place. The tracks that we do, Snarky Puppy, all over the place that we play drum pad exercises to. And then Tuesday, Thursday, I do a marimba class. And this is, if you want to join in, go to my website, petersaleh.com, and it's 4 p.m. Eastern time in the United States. And it's 45 minutes. And check it out. For professional players, it's free, and it's a very small amount of money for student players. Someone who's primary school, secondary school. It's like $5 a session, something like that. But anyway, that's what I'm doing. And then individual private lessons. I have a student in Singapore that I teach on Friday nights, which is Saturday morning. He wakes up at 7 o'clock Saturday morning to take lessons. And so I'm teaching private lessons about every day.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that's cool.
Are you teaching Chris or Kuda? At the moment.
At the moment, I'm not. Like I say, I've taught in the past. More on my last teaching was when I was, like I say, would go in and do group sessions within schools and all that kind of thing. Go in and do workshops with them and get music participation in that kind of way. So yeah, at the moment, well, not at the moment, but like I say, anyone that's interested in playing vibes or marimba, or all you have to do is contact yourself or myself through Facebook, and I can definitely put you in touch with the right people to be able to do that. And I would encourage you to contact us, and we would definitely make sure that there's someone there that can give you the right lessons, and I've got the technology to do it now. So yeah, awesome. Pete's got it. He'd be a great person, and the both everyone that's got online facilities, get out there and do the teaching. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'll definitely help as much as I can to get people playing tuned percussion. I'm percussion and I'm tuned percussion, and definitely.
We need more percussion. Yeah. What about you, Kuda?
Yes, I do actually, but mainly the mbira. So I get a lot of students from London, from London universities, and who take mbira, a performance instrument. So I'm I haven't got much students at the moment because things are just beginning to get better. But yeah, I'm on Facebook, Kuda Matimba. And also my website is hararemusic.com or kudaushe@gmail.com. That's my email. Yeah. Yeah.
And do you teach Nyunga or Zabadzimu?
Both.
Brilliant.
So, but Zabadzimu is more popular,
yeah.
Because it's association, the whole of Mbira Zabadzimu. Nyunga, not many students take that up, but yeah, I play
Nyunga. Yeah. Oh, so you might be getting an email from me. I told Pete he's gonna get an email from me about joining these classes. I'm probably gonna have to pay because my skills have waned over the years, and I'm probably gonna get in touch with you and Fami as well, and Chris at some point. You can show me some chords and nothing.
Oh yeah, I mean that's definitely there if you want to have a go at that. Mind Harambee, definitely.
That'd be brilliant. You all have been fantastic. We're coming to the close of our session, and I want to thank you all so much. Thank you for your videos. Thank you for helping us to make this drum festival what it is, and for letting folks hear and see from you. And I really appreciate your time and your enthusiasm and your musicianship. Thank you for being you. And yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you too.
By the way, sorry guys. By the way, did everyone manage to say how to pronounce Harambee Pasadia?
Okay, I must tell. I thought it was really funny to send a recording of how to pronounce Harambee Pasadia. And then I was making it. And then I said, Geely's, why don't you try to say it? And like do a recording, because she has a Spanish accent. And so she says, so I recorded it. And then I thought it was funny to put like how not to say Harambee Pasadia. And I sent it to every single artist too.
Oh my! That was so funny. That was fun. It's good.
Oh.
I practiced before I did my post.
Did you practice? Oh, thank you guys so much. You have an amazing day, and catch some rest of the festival if you get
definitely.
a chance.
Definitely. Thank you.
Oh, thank you guys. Have
Thanks.
a great day.